Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera, all students. So this week we will go to chapter 10, motivating and rewarding employees. So in this chapter, there are three objectives that you need to know. The first one is what is motivation. The second one is to compare and contrast contemporary theories of motivation, and finally discuss the current issues in motivating employees. So I would like to tell you that in this chapter there are several theories that you need to understand. So we start with defining and explain what is motivation. So what is motivation? So motivation is the process by which a person's effort are energized, directed, and sustained toward attaining a goal. So it, motivation is when employees want to love what they do. All managers need to be able to motivate their employees, which require understanding what motivation is. Okay, let's begin by saying that motivation is not a personal trait that some people have and others don't. Motivation refers to the process by which a person's effort are energized, directed, ada hala tuju, and sustained, they maintain towards attaining a goal. So each individuals differ in motivational drive, and their overall motivation varies from situation to situation. So we might see that some individuals, they have a higher motivation compared to the others. So motivation has three key elements. The first one is energy. So the energy element is a measure of intensity or drive where the quality of the effort is considered along with its intensity. So you can see if someone has a very high motivation, they have a lot of energy in it. The second one is high level of effort lead to favorable job performance when the effort is directed towards and consistent with organizational goals. So for example, you as a student in UMK, you have a direction of finishing your study um, within 4 years with the Dean's List Award. So which is aligned with the faculty's goal. So with that direction, um, you will put an effort to achieve that direction. And the third one, finally, motivation includes a persistence dimension where employees keep putting forth efforts to achieve those goals. Persistence means they keep continuously doing what they are doing and improving in order to achieve what they want. So motivating high levels of employees' performance is an important organizational concern, as demonstrated by a Gallup poll that found that 64% of US employees are not excited about their work. So you may find the data for Malaysian workers, how much Malaysian workers is actually not interested doing their job. Okay, there are several theories of motivation. We start with a classical theories of motivation. What does it mean by classical? Is theories that has been um, made a long time ago. Okay, this is a very old theory of motivation. The first one is Maslow's hierarchy of need, McGregor theory X and theory Y, Herzberg's two-factor theory, McClellan three needs theory. So we go one by one. The first one is Maslow's hierarchy of need. During the 1950s and 1960s, four theories of motivation were formulated. So they include the hierarchy of needs theory, theory X and Y, two-factor theory, and the three needs theory. It's important to know these early theories because, first one, they represent the foundation from which contemporary theories grew. And the second one, they are still used by practicing managers to explain employee motivation. Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, seen here in exhibit 12.1, is one of the most widely known theories of motivation. Maslow was the psychologist who proposed that within every person is a hierarchy of five needs. The first one, the lowest one, is psychological needs, such as the needs for food, drink, shelter, sex, sleep, and other physical requirements. And the second level of needs is safety, such as security and protection from harm, as well as assurance that physical needs will continue to be met. The third level is social needs, including affection, belongings, acceptance, and friendship. The fourth level is esteem needs, which include internal esteem factors such as self respect, autonomy, and achievement, and external esteem factors such as status, recognition, and attention. Finally, the highest level of needs is self actualization, which is the needs that include growth and achieving one's potential. Yeah? So each level of needs, basically according to Maslow's, is that you need to achieve the lowest level first in order to go to the second one. Which means if, let's say, an individual lack of psychological needs, they don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have enough sleep, their requirement for the higher level of needs is actually not relevant. So when they fulfill the first level, then they go the second level and the third level and continuously until the highest level. The second one is McGregor's theory X and theory Y. Okay, Douglas McGregor is best known for proposing two assumptions about human nature. Theory X is a negative view of people, and theory Y is a positive view. So McGregor believed that theory Y assumptions should guide management practice and proposed that participation in decision making, responsible and challenging jobs, and good groups relation would maximize employee motivation. Unfortunately, no evidence confirms that either set of assumptions is valid or that being a theory Y manager is the only way to motivate employees. So the third one is Herzberg's two-factor theory, whereby Frederick Herzberg, uh, this two-factor theory is also known as motivation hygiene theory. So the left one is motivators, consists of achievement, recognition, work itself, responsibility, advancement, and growth. And on the right hand side is hygiene factors, which is supervision, company policy, relationship with supervisor, working conditions, salary, relationship with peers, personal life, relationship with employees, status and security. So if they have um, a balance, motivators and hygiene factors, yeah, so they basically neutral. If they are moving towards the left hand side, they are actually extremely satisfied. But when the the hygiene factors is heavy, they are extremely dissatisfied. So these two factor theories proposes that intrinsic factors are related to job satisfaction, while extrinsic factors are associated with job dissatisfaction. So the intrinsic factors is the motivators, and the extrinsic factor is the hygiene factors. What does that mean? Motivation is the internal part. However, the hygiene factors is how the company instill in order for the workers to work. It was popular from the 1960s to the early 1980s, but it's criticized for being too simplistic. However, it did influence today's approach to job design. Herzberg wanted to know when people felt exceptionally good, whether they are satisfied or dissatisfied about their jobs. These findings are shown in Exhibit 12.2. He concluded from people's response that certain characteristics were consistently related to job satisfaction and other characteristics were related to job dissatisfaction. Herzberg also concluded that the traditional view that the opposite of satisfaction was dissatisfaction was wrong. He stated that removing dissatisfying characteristics from a job would not necessarily make that job more satisfying or motivating. For example, if let's say managers um, uh, take away, okay, the thing that make customer um, dissatisfied, okay, such as uh, punishment, okay. So we know that punishment will make employee dissatisfied. If manager take away that, it doesn't mean that the employee will be satisfied. This is what it said. So as shown here, in Exhibit 12.3, Herzberg proposes that a dual continuum existed. The opposite of satisfaction is no satisfaction, and the opposite of dissatisfaction is no dissatisfaction. It's not a satisfaction and dissatisfaction. Yeah. So basically, the traditional view, um, they say that if uh, an employee is not satisfied, yeah, they will be here. But somehow the picture is like this. So if they are not satisfied, yeah, uh, satisfaction, no satisfaction, and dissatisfaction, no dissatisfaction. Herzberg believed that the factors that led to job satisfaction were separate and distinct from those that led to job dissatisfaction. Therefore, managers who sought to eliminate factors that created job dissatisfaction could keep people from being dissatisfied, but this would not necessarily lead to satisfaction and motivation. So, to motivate people, Herzberg suggested emphasizing motivators, the intrinsic factors having to do with the job itself. So, meaning to say, managers need to focus on what actually giving the employees motivation. Okay, now we go to McClellan tree needs theory. David McClellan and his associates proposed the tree needs theory, which says tree acquired, not innate, needs are major motives in work. The three needs include need for achievement, which is the drive to succeed and excel in relation to a set of standards. The second one is the need for power, which is the need to make others behave in a way that they would not behave otherwise. And the third one is need for affiliation, which is the desire for friendly and close interpersonal relationship. So somehow each one of us have the tendency for these three needs. Need for achievement, need for power, need for affiliation. Need to actually perform in our work or in our tasks. Need for power is ability to influence people. And the third one, need for friendship. Yeah? People with a high need for achievements strive for personal achievement rather than rewards. They have a desire to do something better or more efficiently than it's been done before. They prefer jobs that offer personal responsibility for finding solutions, like to receive rapid and unambiguous performance feedback to tell whether they are improving and to set moderate, challenging goals. High achievers avoid what they perceive to be very easy or very difficult tasks. The second one, a high need to achieve doesn't necessarily lead to being a good manager because high achievers focus on their own accomplishments, while good managers emphasize helping others accomplish their goals. McClellan showed that employees can be trained to stimulate their achievement need by being in situations where they have personal responsibility, feedback, and moderate risk. Okay, the other two needs in this theory haven't been researched as extensively, but we do know that the best managers tend to be high in the need for power and low in the need for affiliation. Now we go to the contemporary theories of motivation. So we have four here: goal setting theory, job characteristics model, equity theory, and expectancy theory. Now we go to goal setting theory. The theories we look at represent current employee motivation approaches that are supported by research. They include goal setting theory, job design theory, equity theory, and expectancy theory. So, job characteristic model, job design refers to the way tasks are combined to form complete jobs. Managers should design jobs deliberately, maksudnya dengan teliti and thoughtfully to reflect the demands of the changing environment. Yeah, because the environment is not static, they keep on changing. Therefore, the organization's technology and the employees' skills, abilities, and preferences. When jobs are designed this way, employees are motivated to work hard. So the job characteristic model, or JCM, seen here was developed by Richard Hackman and Greg Oldham. This model can help managers design jobs that motivate. According to Hackman and Oldham, any job can be described in terms of the following five core job dimensions: skill variety. Skill variety is the degree to which the job requires a variety of activities, allowing the workers to use a number of different skills and talents. The second one is task identity, is the degree to which the job requires completion of a whole and identifiable piece of work. Task significance is the degree to which the job affects the lives or work of other people. Autonomy refers to the freedom, independence, and discretion given to the individual for scheduling the work and for determining the procedures to be used in carrying it out. 5. Feedback is the degree to which carrying out the work activities required by the job result in the individuals obtaining direct and clear information about the effectiveness of his or her performance. So notice in Exhibit 12.5 how the first three dimensions, skill, variety, task, identity, and task significance combine to create meaningful work, which means if these three characteristics exist in a job, we can predict that the person will view his or her job as being important, valuable, and worthwhile. Note too that jobs that possess autonomy give the employee a feeling of personal responsibility for the results, and that if a job provides feedback, the employee will know how effectively he or she is performing. Yeah? So we have skill variety here, task identity and task significance, and then autonomy, how much power they have to make decision, and then they get feedback from their job. Now the third theory is equity theory. The term equity is the concept of fairness and comparable treatment when compared with others who behave in similar ways. There's considerable evidence that employees compare themselves to others and that inequities influence how much effort they exert. Which means equity adalah kita melihat orang lain dan kita menimbang tara adakah apa yang kita terima dengan apa yang kita buat ni sama dengan apa yang orang lain dapat dengan apa yang dibuat. Ya? Kalau kita melihat bahawa our other colleague, they doing less work but they get more than us, they get more reward than us, so the equity doesn't happen. Yeah? Equity theory developed by Stacey Adams proposes that employees compare what they get from a job, the outcome, to what they put into it, inputs, and then compare their input outcomes ratio with the input outcomes ratio of relevant others. So, if an employee perceives her ratio to be equitable in comparison to those of relevant others, there will be no problem. However, if the ratio is perceived to be inequitable, she views herself as under-rewarded or over-rewarded. So when inequities occur, employees attempt to do something about it. The result may be lower or higher productivity, improved or reduced quality of output, increased absenteeism, or voluntary resignation. So the referent, the other person's, systems, or self-individual compare themselves against in order to access equity is an important variable in equity theory. Each of the three referent categories is important. First one, the persons. Category includes others with similar jobs, friends, neighbors. The second one is system. Category includes organizational pay policies, procedures, and allocation. The third one is self. Category refers to past personal experiences and contexts. Originally, equity theory focused on distributive justice, which is the perceived fairness of the amount and allocation of rewards among individuals and which have a greater influence on employee satisfaction. More recent research has focused on issues of procedural justice, which is the perceived fairness of the process used to determine the distribution of reward and tends to affect an employee's organizational commitment, trust in his or her boss, and intention to quit. Based on the evidence, managers should consider openly sharing information on how allocation decisions are made, follow consistent and unbiased procedures, and engage in similar practices to increase the perception of procedural justice. Finally, the expectancy theory. This is the most comprehensive explanation of how employees are motivated. Is Victor Broom's expectancy theory, which states that individual tends to act in certain way based on the expectation that the act will be followed by a given outcome and on the attractiveness of that outcome to the individual. Its three variable or relationships are seen in Exhibit 12.8. So there is a effort, expectancy or effort performance linkages. Effort and performance linkages is the probability perceived by the individual that exerting a given amount of effort will lead to a certain level of performance. So those individuals who make the effort, they will have the performance. And the second one is instrumentality or performance to reward linkage, where it is the degree to which the individual believes that performing at a particular level is instrumental to attaining the desired outcome. So when they perform, of course, they expect a reward. So the third one is valence or attractiveness of reward. best ke tak reward tersebut. Is the importance that the individual places on the potential outcome or reward that can be achieved on the job. Balance considers both the goal and the needs of the individual. So this explanation of motivation can be summed up in the following question. Okay, listen carefully. How hard do I have to work to achieve a certain level of performance, and can I actually achieve that level? What reward will performing at that level get me? How attractive is the reward to me? And does it help me achieve my own personal goals? Yeah. So when employees asking that kind of questions, okay, the motivation will actually lead to whether you are motivated to work hard at any given time depends on your goals and your perception of whether a certain level of performance is necessary to attain those goals. The key to expectancy theory is understanding an individual's goals and the links between effort and performance, between performance and rewards, and between rewards and individual goal satisfaction. Yeah, so this is very closely related to what we have right now. Yeah, uh, where uh, motivation of employees will actually depends on their effort, performance, and the reward. So we go to the final objective of this chapter, which is what are the current issues in motivating employees. Yeah. So because different country have a different culture, and the motivation might be suitable in one country but not suitable in other countries. So managers cannot assume that motivational programs work in one geographic locations are going to work in others. Yeah? So in today's global business environment, yeah, of course, the businesses can be run from various countries, yeah, such as Google, right? Although the headquarters in United States of America, yeah, but they have run in other countries as well. Yeah? Because most of the motivation theories were developed in the United States by the Americans and about Americans. So maybe some theories are not workable in certain culture. So let's look at the cross-cultural transferability of some of the motivation theories we've talked about. Maslow's need hierarchy argues that people start at the psychological level and then move from one level to the above level in order. But in countries such as Japan, Greece, and Mexico, where uncertainty avoidance characteristics are strong, security needs should be on top of the need hierarchy. Whereas countries that score high on nurturing characteristics, such as Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Netherlands, would have social needs on top. Another motivation concept that clearly has an American bias is the achievement need. The view that the high achievement need acts as an internal motivator presupposes two cultural characteristics: a willingness to accept a moderate degree of risk and a concern with performance. So this combination is found in the United States, Canada, and Great Britain, but is rare in countries such as Chile and Portugal. So according to cross-cultural differences, yeah, the most universal element that works around the globe. Maksudnya semua orang di setiap country kat mana-mana pun, yeah, they are looking for interesting work. They want to work in an interesting work, not a boring work, not a stressful work. Yeah. So equity theory has a relatively strong following in the United States, which is not surprising given that US-style reward systems are based on the assumption that workers are highly sensitive to equity in reward allocation. However, recent evidence suggests that in collectivist culture, especially in the former socialist countries of Central and Eastern Europe, employees expect outcomes to be greater than their inputs, which means they are they are looking for a greater reward from their small inputs. Yeah? Which suggests that US style pay practices may need to be modified to be perceived as fair by the employees in that country. So, despite of these cross-cultural differences in motivation, a number of cross-cultural consistencies exist. For instance, the desire for interesting work seems important to almost all workers regardless of their national culture. Yeah? So, similarly, in a study comparing job preference outcomes among graduate students in the United States, Canada, Australia, and Singapore, growth, achievement, and responsibility were rated as the top three outcomes and had identical rankings. Both studies suggest that intrinsic factors identified by Herzberg in his two-factor theory are to some degree universal. So, to maximize motivation among today's diverse workforce, yeah, we have various individuals with various of attitudes. So, managers need to think in terms of flexibility. For instance, studies tell us that men place more importance on having autonomy in their jobs than women do. The second one, the opportunity to learn convenient and flexible work hours and good interpersonal relations are more important to women than to men. Because, of course, women, they have other personal responsibility when they have children, when they have family. Okay, they may require a flexible working hours more compared to men. The third one, having the opportunity to be independent and be exposed to different experience is important to Gen Y employees. So we learned last week about Gen Y employees, right? Whereas older workers may prefer highly structured work opportunities. Therefore, a diverse array of rewards is needed to motivate employees with such diverse needs. Many of the work-life balance programs that organizations have implemented are a response to the varied needs of a diverse workforce. But do flexible work arrangements motivate employees? Although such arrangements might seem highly motivational, both positive and negative relationships have been found. For example, one study of the impact of telecommuting on job satisfaction found that job satisfaction initially increased as the extent of telecommuting increased. But as the number of hours spent telecommuting increased, job satisfaction started to level off, decrease slightly, and then stabilize. So motivating professionals is different from motivating non-professionals. Professionals have a strong and long-term commitment for their field of expertise. They need to keep current and regularly update their knowledge, and because of their commitment to their profession, they would be on a 40-hour week. Like us, lecturer. Even we go home, we still do our work, even during holidays and during weekend. Yeah? Like teachers, lecturers, doctors, lawyers, they usually spend more hours working in their life. So, money and promotions tend to be low motivators for professionals, but job challenge tends to rank high. Professionals' chief reward is the work itself, but they value support and want others to think that what they are working on is important. Hmm. Professionals tend to be focused on their work as their central life interest, whereas non-professionals typically have outside interests that can compensate for needs not met on the job. So there is no simple solution for motivating contingent employees. What does contingent? Temporary part-time and contract workers who don't have security or stability, don't identify with the organization, don't display the commitment. They don't have um, um, the commitment for the company and receive few or no benefits such as healthcare or pension. For the most part, temporary employees are not temporary by choice. Therefore, an involuntary temporary employee might be motivated by the opportunity to become a permanent employee or an opportunity for training. So, pay for performance programs are variable compensation plans that pay employees on the basis of some performance measure. Piece rate pay plans, ya, maksudnya pembayaran itu berdasarkan kepada uh, pekerjaan yang dilakukan secara kecil-kecilan. Wage incentive plans, profit sharing, lump sum bonuses, these are some of the examples for pay for performance program. Yeah. So these performance measures might include such things as individual productivity, team or group work productivity, departmental productivity, or the overall organization's financial performance. Yeah. So which means if the organization put a reward program based on their productivity, yeah, kalau siapa-siapa individual in the organization can achieve certain targets, they are being rewarded. So it can um, propose a motivation scheme for the all of the employees. So other employees might say, "Oh, I might have the same chance as other people to get rewarded if I uh, I have achieved the target." Yeah? So from a motivation perspective, making some or all an employee's pay conditional on some performance measure focuses his or her attention and effort toward that measure and then reinforces the continuation of the effort with the reward. If the employee, team, or organization's performance decline, so does the reward.